Going back on the record, the time is 10:21 a.m.
Have you heard the term multi-level marketing?
Yes.
What does the term mean?
To me, I felt it means selling a nutritional product to other people and inviting them to be on an auto ship program where they get product every month automatically.
Is it limited to nutritional products?
To my knowledge, I don't know any other way. I don't know. I'm not involved in other companies.
Have you ever been involved in a multi-level marketing company?
Yes.
What multi-level marketing
I
company?
tried to do Amway and Pharmanx. Oh, I'm sure there's several others that I... Oh, I did. It was with a company called Eola, which is aloe spelled backwards, E-O-L-A. But they're no longer around.
Let's talk about Amway. When did you do Amway?
Oh, don't ask me that. I was probably in my 20s.
How long did you do it for?
I probably a year too long.
A year too long?
Yeah, well, because we had so much product still in our garage, it just kept coming.
Did you do it longer than a year?
I don't recall.
How did you get involved with Amway?
Oh, my sister.
She was an Amway distributor?
Yes.
Did you sign up any distributors?
I don't think so.
And you said Pharmanx?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What did Pharmanx sell?
They sold fairly the same things as Amway. Vitamins, laundry, protein drinks. Their big thing was their bioavailable vitamins.
When did you get involved with Pharmanx?
I'd say maybe 25 years ago.
And how long were you involved?
Less than a year. And that's because the products just kept coming and we never sold.
And you said Eola?
Aola, yeah.
Aola?
Sorry, yeah, Aola. Sounds like the other disease. Yes.
And what does Aola sell?
They used to sell weight loss drops. They were like energy weight loss drops in the 90s.
Is that when you became involved?
Yes.
How long were you involved with Aola?
I would say about 8 years.
Did you sign up distributors or retailers underneath you?
Yes.
Was Mark involved in Aola too?
He supported me, but it was my business.
Why did you stop selling Aola products?
They filed bankruptcy.
Is LuLaRoe a multi-level marketing company?
Not to my... No, not at all.
Why?
Because we don't make you go on an auto ship program. There's no sign-up fee. I'm just comparing Amway or Aola to this. They sell product that people want, in my opinion.
When you say they, are you referring to
The retailers, the fashion IFRs.
the LuLaRoe retailers?
Yes, I'm sorry, yes. And the LuLaRoe retailers are not, I mean, it's not like they are required to do anything.
So in your mind, is the auto ship feature a defining feature of a multi-level marketing company?
Yes.
Is LuLaRoe a direct sales company?
I've heard them say that.
Who's them?
You hear it out in the world from people, and they talk about it. When I say talk about it, retailers talk about it.
Do you consider LuLaRoe a direct sales company?
No.
Why not?
Well, I don't, there's no requirement. It's not like, get rich quick. It's not. It's buy product, sell it. Buy it for wholesale, sell it for retail.
When we were talking about Terrell Transtrom earlier, you said he had, one of the reasons LuLaRoe hired him was because he had experience in direct sales. Is that right?
I heard that he did. I cannot confirm it.
Why was it important to hire someone with experience in direct sales?
He is the uncle to my son-in-law. And LuLaRoe was growing, and Mark and I were thankful that when my son-in-law mentioned that his in-laws were building this business and things were growing so fast, that he had offered, hey, I have experience in this. So Mark and I got in a car and drove 14 hours to Idaho Falls. And that's where we learned his experience, and he was like on it. I mean, he wanted to help as best he could. I can come to California, I will be there, help you get set up everything that you needed.
Did you consider his experience in direct sales relevant?
I don't know what his experience in direct sales was.
You just said a moment ago that he described his experience to you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know what he did in direct sales.
What did he tell you that he did in direct sales?
He never told me directly what he did.
But you heard that he had experience in direct sales?
Yes.
Did you consider that relevant?
We consider people that have experience and willing to help out as people that are an asset, I think.
Did Terrell help out the company?
Not to my preference.
How so?
I don't know.
Why
Most
do you
of the
say-
time I felt like he was causing stress.
How was he causing stress?
I don't know. I mean, to be specific, I don't know. It just was... He just did some pretty unprofessional things in front of the internal. One time he took a bucket and a mop, and he threw it on the table and said, "I'm tired of cleaning up after your SH, you know what." I felt like that was incredibly unprofessional, and from then on, I stayed out of his way and didn't invite him in my way.
Is that something he said to you or to someone else?
To all of us.
Who was there?
For sure, me and Mark.
What were you discussing at the time?
I have no idea. It was a common thing for him to be opinionated.
What else was he opinionated about?
Hired people that made decisions on salaries without consulting, and that wasn't his role.
Was he involved at all in designing the bonus structure?
I have no idea.
We're talking earlier about different types of events that LuLaRoe holds for retailers. So I'm going to try to get a full list of those types of events. You said that there's the annual conference.
Yes.
Is that sometimes called Vision?
Yes.
Is it always called Vision?
The last two.
Okay.
We decided to identify it as that.
Did the previous ones have other identifiers?
I'm sure they did. I would have to look. It's kind of blurs into, there's, many events throughout the year and years.
Has LuLaRoe always had an annual convention for its retailers?
Yes.
And what's the purpose of the convention?
For me, I think it's really important, especially because this business started out being primarily stay-at-home moms or moms that wanted to bring in income, and I think they need an opportunity to gather.
What happens at convention?
Oh, there's everything from classes on how-tos and fashion ideas, how to put outfits together, how to pattern mix, how to identify what fabrics are which, what's a hachi, what's polyester, what's a MVS, what's a ITY, what's a, They learn about fabrics and they learn how something is sewn, and they just an opportunity for them to come to the company and be together and learn from each other.
Do they also learn from LuLaRoe?
Yes.
Who's invited to attend convention?
Anyone that is a part of LuLaRoe.
So any retailer?
Yes.
Are there any retailers that are expected to attend?
No.
So are there any ranks that are sort of expected to attend versus other ranks?
It's not.
Check the form and ask an answer.
No.
Does LuLaRoe keep records of who attends convention?
I am hoping they do. I have no idea. They have a registration. I'm getting a piece of gum. Is that okay?
Is, so you said most recently it's been held in Southern California?
The first two were, the very, very first one was in Henderson, Nevada, and I think we had 30 people there. And then the second one was actually September, October, 4 months later. Yeah, in Salt Lake City. And
Now-
in January, you don't want to be in Salt Lake City. It's really cold. So we decided no more. We're doing them in California.
That first one in Henderson, Nevada, do you remember what year that was in?
In 2012.
2012?
I mean 13,
Or
sorry.
2013.
Oh, gosh.
And then the Salt Lake City one in January, you said 4 months later, so that would have been 2014?
Yes.
Okay. And then after that, it's been in California?
Yes.
And has it always been in July since then?
Gosh, I don't know if we did it in June or July. I cannot remember, but it would be around those 2 months.
Okay. And how long does convention usually last?
2 days.
And retailers fly into the location?
I would think so. I think it would be hard to fly in from Hawaii. To drive in from Hawaii, but yes, I think so.
Are retailers expected to pay their own travel costs?
They choose to.
Does LuLaRoe ever pay travel costs for retailers?
No, I've never.
Do retailers pay their own hotel costs?
Yes.
Okay. Do LuLaRoe employees also attend the convention?
I'm sure they do. They work the event.
Do you always attend?
I try.
Have you always attended?
Yes.
What about Mark?
Yes.
So the last convention was this last July
Yes.
of 2019.
Yes.
How many people attended?
Oh, I don't know. Like, do you want me to guess?
Was it, 1,000, couple thousand, more than that?
I think it was about 2,000.
Where was it held?
Anaheim?
At a hotel?
Yes. At the convention center.
Does LuLaRoe help arrange hotels, like block out a block of hotels?
I can't answer that question. I'm not in charge of that.
Where did you stay at the last convention? Or did you stay in a hotel?
Yes.
Were there other retailers staying in the same hotel?
I don't know.
Are there other sort of retreats that LuLaRoe holds for retailers?
Maybe reward incentive retreats.
What are reward incentive retreats?
When we usually do like maybe, we have done in the past, we haven't done anything, a coach's retreat. So that if they feel like they want to, another time of the year, when they feel like they need connection. We have done them in the past, we haven't done them in 2 years.
So when was the last coaches retreat
I
that you
have
had?
no idea.
How, when you were holding coaches retreats, how often were they held?
Once a year.
And was that for retailers who had already made coach?
Yes.
Where was the last one held?
Oh my goodness, I was just thinking in my head, I don't remember.
Were you there?
Yes, I think I was. Gosh, it's, like I said, it's been a long time.
Was it your practice to attend the coaches retreats?
Yes.
How long was the last coaches retreat?
2 days.
What sort of events happened at the coaches retreat?
Oh my goodness, laying around at the pool, eating dinner. They could get a massage if they wanted to, sharing ideas with each other by the pool. The guys would drum up golfing, Mostly it was just a fun reason to get together.
Were there trainings?
No, not really.
Were there any sort of programs in
There
a
were
conference room?
discussions, but I wouldn't say formal trainings. But what?
What sort of discussions were there?
People, they gather and they talk. And I have no idea what they said. I don't know.
Was it, you said retailers who were already coaches, were they allowed to bring guests?
No. A significant other or it wasn't like they could invite mom and dad and grandma and grandpa and neighborhood friends. No.
But they could bring a
They
significant other, a spouse.
Yes.
Okay.
And they could also, if they were single and they wanted to bring another retailer, and if they wanted to bring a friend, we didn't care. Sure, But most of the time they wanted to come with somebody that knew about what they were doing, so it made it easier for them to enjoy.
How many coaches retreats has LuLaRoe held?
I don't know.
Any other sort of in-person events that LuLaRoe has held?
Other than those trainings that we do, when we go out into the field, when I say that, maybe, I know we've been to places where retailer, the IFRs is what you refer to them as, the retailers are, wherever they say, hey, do you think you guys could come out? We've got groups of retailers that would love to have you. So.
I've heard of in-person tours, like one was called Dare to Dream. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
So those are organized by LuLaRoe.
The location and, but the trainings are organized by the retailers.
And I've heard those referred to as tours.
Yes.
Yeah. And would you participate in those tours?
When I can.
I've also heard of mentor trips.
Oh, yes, mentor trips.
What are mentor trips?
Same thing as coaches trips, incentivizing. When I say, I mean, they wanted to get together. When they're at that rank, they're overwhelmed.
How are they overwhelmed?
I don't, I'm a female, and I think that we get overwhelmed, and we get stressed, and it's awesome when you can get together with people that you have the same interests in and have the same goals.
So the mentor trips were for retailers who had achieved mentor?
Yes,
How often are they held?
once a year, but we haven't had any in like 3 years.
For the mentor trips, are they allowed to bring spouses or significant others?
Yes.
Who pays for the mentors to go on the mentor trips?
I don't know.
Does LuLaRoe pay?
I'm sure they take care of some things.
You don't know what LuLaRoe pays for? They're called an incentive. You refer to it as an incentive trip.
Yes.
What is the incentive in the trip?
For me, just, hey, if you feel like you need training and then getting uplifted, then we've got this trip's coming up. If you want to join us, please reach out, or we'll have somebody reach out to you.
Is the incentive that part of it is paid for by LuLaRoe?
The incentive? Mm-hmm. No.
Real quickly, we were talking about convention a few minutes ago. Are retailers allowed to bring guests to convention?
Yes.
Can they bring prospective retailers?
Yes.
Do they?
I don't know.
Have you ever encouraged retailers to bring prospective retailers to convention?
Me personally, I probably have. I don't recall when.
Are prospective retailers allowed to sign up to become a retailer at convention?
I have no idea. I've never seen that happen, so I don't know.
So let's go back to talking about the in-person tours. How often does LuLaRoe hold those in-person tours?
It could be 4 to 6 events a year.
When was the last in-person tour?
Oh. Probably early November.
Did that tour have a name?
Lift.
Lift?
Yep. Yes. Sorry.
Was there a tour in 2018?
Yes.
And what was the name of that tour?
I don't recall. They're a theme every year,
Yeah, so I've heard Be the Light, was that 2017?
maybe.
But there,
I
you're
think that
familiar
was-
with the tour?
I think that was the convention,
Oh.
was Be the Light.
What about Inspire?
That's a lift, the tours.
Tour?
So each year they give it a new name, just so that I guess they can identify it was this year, and then this year we did they were all called.
When you do those tours, who is invited to attend?
Anybody that's a part of LuLaRoe or even interested in knowing more about LuLaRoe.
So prospective retailers are invited?
Yes.
And what happens on the tours?
They're all different.
How long are the meetings typically?
They like them to go. If they had their way, they'd be 12 hours long, but usually it's like 9 to 5.
So usually
9
a
to
single
4.
day though?
Yes.
Okay. How many people typically attend?
We've had them anywhere from 60 to 200.
And what happens at those in-person tour events?
Like I said, the retailers are the ones that decide what is to be taught. That is the need in the area. So they will come up with the program, they arrange for the speakers.
When they do that, does LuLaRoe provide any assistance?
Sound system, microphones, music, screen.
Do the retailers provide the agenda to LuLaRoe beforehand?
Yes,
Does LuLaRoe approve the agenda?
yes.
If the retailers are using any written materials, do they provide those to LuLaRoe in advance?
No.
Are the retailers authorized to provide written materials at those trainings or those in-person tours?
I would assume so. I have no idea. I'm not involved in that.
Who's responsible for putting on the in-person tours on the LuLaRoe side?
Kenny, Brady,
Has he always been?
no.
Who else has been responsible?
I cannot recall. There are various people, but they don't work for us anymore. Jordan, I think Jordan yesterday was a part of it.
He was a part of some of those in-person tours?
Yes. They really love when anyone from the family comes. They just like it. Means a lot to them.
They being the retailers?
Yes.
And how do you know that they really like it when someone from Canada?
They express it. They just said it really means a lot to us to have you there.
LuLaRoe also has cruises, correct?
Yes.
How often does LuLaRoe, well, how do the cruises work?
They can qualify by selling $12,000 a month in retail sales any 6 months out of the year.
And is that $12,000 a month gross or net?
It's just $12,000 in retail sales.
And that's how a retailer qualifies?
Yes.
And then what happens if a retailer qualifies?
They get to come on the cruise. If they can get away and get their babysitters and anything else that they need to do.
And LuLaRoe pays for the cruise?
Yes.
Does LuLaRoe pay their travel expenses to get to wherever
No.
the cruise disembarks from?
No.
Okay. But pays for the room on the cruise.
Yes.
Does LuLaRoe pay for shore excursions on the cruise?
No.
Anything else on the cruise that LuLaRoe pays for?
I think they pay for gratuities. They take care of all of that. And the taxes, I think,
How often is there a cruise?
once a year.
Is it usually held in the same months?
It has been in February, but then last year we switched it up and changed it to March, and they loved it way better. So we're like, okay, we'll move it to March then.
So sometime in winter.
Yes. Spring.
Where does the cruise usually go?
I like it to be out of the Caribbean. So it's usually out of Florida, and we've had a couple of them that went out of Puerto Rico. But it's really hard to get to Puerto Rico now since the hurricane. So we're probably not going to do that again.
Does LuLaRoe hold any meetings at the cruise?
Yes.
How often?
Just 1 or 2 meetings that are an hour long. And then the retailers will usually find each other and congregate. And I'll walk past a room and there's a whole group of them sitting in a bar area talking, or, but that's their own organization.
Is this usually a week-long cruise? Or?
Yes.
And retailers who qualify can bring a guest?
Yes.
Can they bring prospective retailers?
If that's their choice, they get a +1.
How many people went on the last cruise?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you have a ballpark?
They said the rooms, there were enough to hold, I don't know, 3,000, but I know we had rooms empty that we didn't use up, so I have no idea what the exact number would be.
I've also heard of Super Saturdays. Have you heard that term?
Mm-hmm.
What are
Yes.
Super Saturdays?
That's the retailers, they do that.
And what are they, in your understanding?
I would think that for me, if I were to attend or go to or organize a Super Saturday, it would be, hey, let's get together Saturday morning and talk for a couple of hours, come have coffee. Since my mom can watch the kids, or my husband can watch the kids, or my partner, and let's get inspired.
Have you ever attended a Super Saturday?
No.
Have you ever called in to a Super Saturday?
Yes.
And, on the occasions that you called in, why did you call in?
They called me.
Why?
Hey, Deanne, do you think you could say hello to everybody that's here? Sure.
So what did you say?
I don't remember exactly. Usually I try to be really positive and happy and welcome them for being there. I think that's awesome. They get together. And
Has LuLaRoe ever asked retailers to hold Super Saturdays?
we're not asked, we encourage them. We give them suggestions.
So LuLaRoe has encouraged the Super Saturdays.
Yes, because we hear so much positivity from others, and when they call and say I need help, I don't know what I should do. I don't know, why don't you try a Super Saturday? Get a bunch of the retailers together. all of you guys get together, coffee and sweet rolls or donuts or something.
Does LuLaRoe ever provide any support for the Super Saturdays?
No,
Any materials for use at the Super Saturdays?
not presently.
Have they ever?
I don't think so.
Do you have any understanding of who is invited to attend Super Saturday events?
No.
Like a foundation.
You don't know?
No, I don't know.
Are there any other in-person events that LuLaRoe holds that we haven't already spoken about?
I am not quite sure. I mean, I'd have to really think. I'd have to go back in my calendars and look and see. But even that, I don't save calendars.
But no regular events stick out in your mind? Let's talk about phone calls or webinars. My understanding is LuLaRoe has a variety of types of regular phone calls or webinars for retailers. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What types of regular phone calls or webinars are there?
They have a weekly one that's for all retailers, and then they have a weekly webinar Zoom for leaders.
Okay, let's talk about the weekly one for all retailers first. Does that have a name?
Oh, I think they do, but I don't know what it's called.
Who at LuLaRoe organizes that call?
Right now, it's the video team.
Does the video team decide what is going to be discussed?
I don't know. He could be going around, I'm sure he does, and talks to styling team, and I think he's talked to communications. Is there anything we need to share? I'm not on all of them.
Are you on some of them? Mm-hmm. How often do you attend?
I just when I'm in the office and when I'm available.
In a typical month, how many of the weekly calls would you attend?
2.
When you attend, do you speak?
Yep.
What do you speak about?
What happens to come to my mind. There's never planned out. What is it that I can do that would be of upliftment to women, especially that are feeling stressed?
So you said it's never planned out. So do you ever have
For me,
any-
it's never planned out. I don't know about what they do. And I would like to tell you that I watch them. I don't.
So just for what you speak about, do you usually have notes or anything, or
No.
you're speaking about what comes to your mind?
Yep.
You said all retailers are invited to attend the weekly call.
Yes.
Are prospective retailers ever invited to attend?
I have no idea.
And those are audio only, or are they video as well?
Video.
Are they recorded?
Yes.
And are the recordings posted somewhere for retailers who missed it to watch, for
Yes, but I don't know where.
Has LuLaRoe had a weekly call or video since it started?
I wouldn't say since.
When did it start?
I would say officially, maybe 4 years ago.
It's about 2015. Sounds about right.
Yes, yes.
And then you said there's another weekly call for leaders.
Yes.
And who do you consider to be a leader?
Anybody that is a sponsor, trainer, anybody that's got a team.
And who's responsible for putting on those calls?
They're the ones that have requested it because they want to be in the know before anything is announced on the calls. So they want to feel important.
So the leader call is sort of a pre-call before the call
Actually,
for
it's
everyone?
after. It's interesting because it's on a day after. So it evolved with them saying, you know, we'd like to know ahead of time. Oh, okay. Which I think it's silly, but we do it to make them feel important.
What day of the week is leader call usually held on?
Wednesdays,
Okay. What about the all retailer call?
Tuesday mornings.
The weekly leader call on Wednesday mornings, LuLaRoe puts that on?
It's Wednesday at 1 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
And they come into my office, but I'm not always on that one either.
How often are you on it?
Maybe once a month.
And who at LuLaRoe is responsible for putting it on?
There's a sales and marketing team, and it varies.
How long are the leader calls usually?
Oh my goodness, it would be awesome if they were only 10 minutes. But sometimes they go longer than that. Actually, a lot of times they go longer than that, so I don't know.
How often are they usually?
I bet they're probably a half an hour.
And what types of things are discussed in the leader calls?
You know, sometimes they ask questions. Tell me, what's the fabric of this? How stretchy will it be? Are you going to go up to all the sizes? I mean, they're kind of, in my opinion, you know, they're just curious minds want to know, hey, will it fit our plus size women? How is it going to fit across? You know, it's just interesting. And the other, usually it's always product driven. When can I get my product faster than someone else's? And then we have to kind of educate them and help them.
Are the leader calls recorded?
Yes, I think.
And are they posted somewhere for leaders who missed to be able to see?
You know, I don't know. I would think they are, but I don't know.
Does LuLaRoe keep a record of who attends the leader calls?
I do not know.
What about the weekly Tuesday morning calls for all retailers?
I think they know a percentage of people that have watched it, but they don't know who.
So they can sort of tell how many views a video's gotten?
Yes.
I've seen references to a coach's call.
No.
Is that not a regular thing?
No.
Are there sometimes coaches' calls?
There may have been 4 or 5 years ago, but not.
Are those replaced now by the leader calls?
Yes.
Okay. What about mentors' calls?
Same thing.
I've seen references to training the trainers calls.
Yes.
What are those?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I'm not part of that.
Do those still exist?
I don't know.
Have you ever attended a training the trainers call?
I may have passed by an office and someone said, hey, come in and say hello. And it could be a train the trainers. I have no idea.
Get Exhibit R from one of the folders. One of three. She's been handed what's been marked as Exhibit 103, which for the record is Bates numbered Lindsay 002359. I'll let you take a minute and take a look at this.
Oh, yes.
Does this look familiar to you?
Is it from me?
It doesn't appear to be
I wouldn't.
have any signature on it.
I don't send emails.
So this is an email. It's to lindsayjwheeler@gmail.com from LuLaRoe, and the subject is the LuLaRoe opportunity call is back starting today, and it's dated July 12th, 2018. Do you know what opportunity calls are?
Yes.
What are opportunity calls?
When this happened, I would assume it would be learn about the opportunity, but it didn't go very far because I don't know anything about it. I probably did one call.
You personally probably did one call?
I did one call. In this time period, and I haven't done, I don't recall.
What was, and it looks like from the email that it was something that people who are interested in becoming retailers could attend.
Yes.
And it looks like the subject line is back starting today. So it looks like these calls were held at some point prior to July 12th, 2018. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And then there was a break.
A long break.
Do you recall what periods they were held before this July 12th, 2018 email?
No.
Do you recall how long they were held?
Maybe a few months.
And why were they stopped?
Because we felt like it was better for the retailers to talk to their people on a one-on-one basis.
And by talk to their people, do you mean talk to people
Well, you
they
know,
were
some-
trying to sign up?
If they, yes, when they were talking to people, they occasionally said, hey, it would be really awesome if Deanne would do a call. I think I did 1 or 2 calls. And then when I would turn it back over, say, reach out to the person that invited you on this call and talk to them about more questions that you have. And more than once, I forgot to get on the call because I didn't have an assistant back then. And so I thought, okay, this is ridiculous.
Who at LuLaRoe was responsible for organizing the calls?
Well, there are 2 retailers that came up with an idea. I remember, and it was probably right a year ago. And she said, oh my gosh, Deanne, do you remember when you used to do the opportunity calls? I wanted to go, yeah, like 3 or 4 of them. I don't. Anyway, and she said, oh, it'd be so awesome. She's a former Mary Kay consultant. And so she asked if I would do a call. So I did.
Who was that retailer?
She's not with LuLaRoe anymore.
Who was she?
I can't remember her name. That's why I remember she was with Mary Kay, or had been with Mary Kay, and I thought, well, we don't do recruiting calls. So I'm sure they let them know so that it wouldn't sound like I was doing favorites, playing favorites by only doing it for a small group. I think that they just said, well, we should let everybody know if they have anybody that wants to be on it.
And who within LuLaRoe home office was responsible for organizing the call?
I don't know.
And when they started back up again in July 2018, how long did they last?
I recall only one time for me.
Did others hold an opportunity call?
I don't know.
Did LuLaRoe keep a record of who attended the call?
I don't know.
Would LuLaRoe record the calls and then post them?
No. Not that I know of.
I've also heard of Q Club calls. Do you know what that is?
No.
You don't know what that is? Was there ever a call for people? We talked earlier about, let me strike that and start again. We talked earlier about the queue, which was people who are waiting to become retailers. Do you recall that?
Yes.
I've heard that sometimes referred to as the Q Club. People in the queue were in the Q Club. Have you heard that term?
No.
Was there ever a call for people who are in the queue waiting to become a retailer?
I have no idea.
Heard references to leadership calls. Does that sound familiar to you?
We just talked about them.
Those were the weekly calls for leaders. Okay. Any other regular calls for retailers? Calls or video conferences?
No.
Switch gears a little bit and talk about trainings of retailers. Does LuLaRoe provide any trainings for retailers?
Yes.
And how so?
We just talked about them.
On these various calls and in-person conferences?
Yes.
Okay. What sort of subjects does LuLaRoe provide trainings about?
It really depends on what they need. It can vary.
What subjects has LuLaRoe provided trainings about in the
Oh,
past?
specifically, I don't have an idea.
Has LuLaRoe ever provided trainings regarding how to sell products?
Yes.
What kinds of things are covered in those trainings?
How to put outfits together, how to encourage them to do in-person party events, and how to wear a certain style, how it should fit. How not to sell below and, you know, some people undercut their fellow retailers, and it's not kind. So we try to encourage them, hey, this is amazing.
Does LuLaRoe provide a suggested price?
Yes.
And what's that called?
The minimum advertised price.
So sometimes called MAP.
Yes.
And so you have trainings on using MAP to price products?
No, not to price them. The prices are already out there, so they can look them up. But it's more like, hey, if you've got these leggings, why don't you try putting together a shirt and a sweater to go with it, and give people the option to put an outfit together. And like anything, you know, McDonald's always offers, can we ask, you know, Jack in the Box says, do you want to, can I throw in a dessert for you or something, you know. It's upselling. So we talk about that. We've talked about, you know, what are their goals? I know that there are some retailers that talk about being consistent on when they go live, or being consistent in their business. We talk about treating your business like a business, accounting, you know, referring people to get an accountant and be, you know, appropriate in their business so that they can take care of their financial obligations.
Does LuLaRoe ever provide trainings regarding how to recruit prospective retailers?
No.
Do they ever provide trainings on how to sign up prospective retailers?
I don't know. I'm sure they do. But I can't answer that question.
Do they provide trainings on how to manage retailers in their downline?
Check to form, asked and answered.
Yes.
And what sort of things are covered in those trainings?
Like, hey, it'd be really good if you get up early and get your days scheduled and start your day off with a plan and, you know, get the kids ready and load the dishwasher and then quickly go and throw in some laundry in the laundry machine and then send a post out about, I'm going to go live at 4 o'clock today, and then go get your outfits all put together so that when you're ready, you know, surprisingly, so many people, they're just young in business. And they want to know how they can become better.
Does LuLaRoe provide any trainings on social media use?
Not that I know of.
Any other training topics that we haven't talked about that you can recall?
No. We talk about being nice to each other. That's kind of an important golden rule, which is really astounding.
What do you mean being nice to each other?
Oh my gosh, well, you know, women are, they worry.
Do you mean specifically retailers being nice to other retailers?
Just in general, be kind to each other.
You've been handed what's been marked as Exhibit 104, which for the record is Bates numbered LLR-WA000425557 and is titled Chat with Brittany, Ashley, Lindsay, and Rebecca, dated March 17, 2015. Have you seen this before?
No.
At the top, it says export details, device name, Deanne Brady's iPhone. And then down it says participants, and it has 4 participants. Does this look to be like a record of a text chat from your iPhone?
Probably, yes.
Okay. Looking at the participants, the first one listed there, it says Brittany Comp Nash, Tennessee, looks TN rep. Do you know who that is?
Yes.
Who is that?
Brittany Comp, who lives in Tennessee. She's a retailer.
Do you know what rank she is?
She's a mentor.
Next one is Ashley Hilliard. Who is that?
I'm confused. It's Ashley Hilliard. What do you mean? Who is that?
Who is Ashley Hilliard? Is she a retailer?
Yes, she is. They're all retailers.
Okay. What rank is Ashley?
Mentor.
And Lindsay Wheeler is also a retailer?
Yes.
And what rank is she?
Mentor.
And Rebecca Andrews?
Maybe, I think she's a coach.
And it looks like the first text message in this chain is in blue, which I believe means that it was from you. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay. And it says, okay, fabulous reps.
My role is to look at these women who reach out to me and say, guess what? You can either carry it with a huge burden on your head, or you can figure out ways that can improve yourselves. So I let them talk to each other. Mm-hmm. I let them get on a call to encourage each other. And I remember Ashley saying to Brittany, we are strong. We're going to get through. I don't even know what they're over. But I get emotional about it because I went through the same thing.
So going back to this email, what types of success stories were you asking them to share?
Those?
Checked as asked and answered.
What do you mean those? So the success stories, for example, of, I think you mentioned Lindsay Wheeler being able to
I think those are personal.
retire her husband. Mm-hmm. So you're asking them to share those sort of stories on the call?
I don't know what they were going to share. I have no idea. I'm just telling you about their lives.
So here in
And
this
what
text,
they choose to share was their doing.
you were asking them to share success stories.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they had a good day and they got their dishes done and threw in a laundry and made a job chart. And I do not know. I don't record my calls.
So you've been handed what's been marked as Exhibit 105, which for the record is Bates numbered LOR-WA000426609 and is titled Chat with Britney, Justin, Kelly, Kim, Kenny, Britney, Tori, Chelsea, Ashley, dated March 16th, 2015. And this again looks to be a record from a text chat on your iPhone, is that correct?
Yes?
Okay. And do you recognize it?
No?
Let's look at the participants list. Who is Britney Hunter? Is she a? Oh no, is that
A different Britney?
different Britney? Is she a retailer?
Yes.
What rank is she?
Mentor now?
Do you recall what rank she was in 2015?
No, I think she was probably just a trainer. I would say all of these were just a trainer.
All of these
All
were
of the
trainers?
retailers on here. In 2015, we didn't have
Okay.
anybody higher than a trainer at the time.
Is everyone on this participants list a retailer?
No.
Who are not retailers?
Justin, Kenny. That's it.
So who is Justin?
My son-in-law, Justin Lyon.
And he works for LuLaRoe?
Yes.
What is his role?
I don't know. They just changed it.
What is it now?
Social media.
What was it before social media?
It's varied.
And then Kenny is Kenny Brady, your
Yes.
son?
Yes.
And he's in charge of, or he's in sales and marketing, you said?
Right now, he is.
Do you recall what he was doing in 2015? You said you don't currently check Facebook. Did you check Facebook at some time in the past?
I have no idea. I may have.
In this text message, you mentioned that you had noticed a lot of Facebook posts. How would you have noticed those posts?
Probably because people came to me and showed them to me.
What sort of people?
I don't know. Maybe Terrell did. Maybe Mark did.
Was there someone at LuLaRoe responsible for monitoring social media?
Not that I know of. In particular, I have no idea. It could be someone in this group that said, oh my gosh, there's some really great things happening. I would never have, I mean, that's why I'm asking them to share with me.
And why did you ask them to share those successes with
Because
you?
it's fun, positive.
What did you intend to do with those stories?
Uplift and encourage.
What's amazing?
The stories are amazing.
The stories that are then
Yeah,
posted later in
yeah.
this text chat?
You didn't read them?
I've read them.
Okay, they're amazing.
Why do you think they're amazing?
I don't know, I think it's
That's all the questions I have on that. Do you have, we talked earlier about,
These are getting a little mixed
Oh,
up.
all right.
Thanks, Anthony.
the court reporter has to keep all of the exhibits.
Oh, I'm
so-
sorry.
Yeah.
I thought they were mine. It was my library.
Make myself useful.
Sorry. Here we go. I'll be better.
So it sounds like LuLaRoe often asks retailers to run trainings for people in their teams.
No, I think we suggest.
And then you support them in that endeavor. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Has LuLaRoe ever provided retailers with any guidelines to use when training their downline?
No. Not that I know of.
Has LuLaRoe ever done any trainings for retailers on how to run a training?
Not that I know of.
When a trainer runs a training at a LuLaRoe event, like on a cruise or at convention, you said they provide their agenda to LuLaRoe beforehand?
Not on a cruise.
Not for the cruise, but for convention?
Yes.
Who approves that agenda?
I don't know.
That's not you?
No.
When retailers do trainings at convention, do they sometimes use slides like PowerPoints or pictures?
Yes, I've seen those.
Do they provide those to LuLaRoe before the convention?
I'm sure they do.
Who at LuLaRoe approves them?
I don't know.
It's not you.
No.
Does LuLaRoe market its products?
Check to the form.
Other than a blog and Instagram.
A LuLaRoe blog?
Yes.
And who maintains the blog?
I don't know.
And LuLaRoe has an Instagram account?
Yes.
Who maintains that?
I don't know.
You mentioned earlier a photography team who takes photographs of the clothes. Is that for the Instagram account?
I think so.
What other uses are the photographs they take of the clothes?
For display of this is on this style fits this body and this body and this body. We try to make sure that the fit on our sizes run extra small to triple XL in most styles.
Does LuLaRoe provide any photographs or any materials about the clothes to retailers to help them sell it?
They have access to those.
How do they have access?
I don't know exactly, but I hear that they call them assets.
They call the marketing materials assets?
Yes, so that they can get, I want to know what does this style look like on this size body, and so they'll do a photo shoot and make them available.
And you don't know how they get those, where they're made available?
They get communication, I'm sure, because I see people reposting.
Are there any other type of visuals that are made available other than photographs of the clothes?
I don't know exactly.
Is the LuLaRoe logo made available for use by the retailers?
I'm sure it is.
Has LuLaRoe ever done any studies or surveys regarding its products?
I do not recall.
Does LuLaRoe track in any way what styles or patterns are selling better than others?
Yes.
How do you track that?
I believe we have I've heard them talk about it, I've not seen it, but a sell-through data to see which are more popular. Some, I've heard, sell faster than others. And it also depends on the season.
Where is that sell-through data held?
I have no idea.
Has LuLaRoe always maintained that sell-through data?
No.
Is that a recent development?
Yes.
How recent?
A year? 2 years? I don't know. That's something that Mark takes care of. I don't have anything to do with that, any of that.
before you had that data, how did LuLaRoe determine what styles or patterns were selling better than others?
I think just hearing about it, I have no idea.
I think it's probably a good time for a break.
Off the record, the time's 11:38 a.m.